Hey, my name's Hilton and today I'm going to fit mud flaps to my Audi A6. This is a shot of my rear bumper and this is exactly what I'm trying to prohibit. This kind of dirt that splashes up on one's car when you drive over standing water. So mud flaps will take care of that. So you won't have to deal with having to wash your car or having to sit with a dirty car. So these are the mud flaps over here, and they are contoured to fit the shape of the body of the car. Now, what I've noticed is the rear mud flaps just have two holes where you can mount, and I don't know if that's going to be sufficient. I may have to put another hole down here using the hardware they provide, and these are self-tapping screws, and I just may have to put one each on the bottom of the rear mud flaps. And now the front mud flaps only have one mounting point. This clip over here, it's just a clip that protrudes and the body of the car clips into the side of this, and then this screw that is actually on the car already, you just got to take the original screw of the car's fender liner and then put the mud flap on and then screw this back into the fender liner. The fitment's actually very good, and the quality of these mud flaps is very good. It's a very malleable kind of rubber, and they're not plastic. It's sort of, it feels like rubber, and I think they're going to look and feel nice on the car. These are the front and these are the rear. So I'm going to fit them now and show you guys how I do that. So before I do the install, I just want to clean all this dirt off of the paint because it's pretty dirty. Now if we have a look inside the fender, on this lip there are screws. So we need that screw and we need this bottom one over there. And these are the two that are going to hold the rear mud flaps in place. Now these screws are some kind of Torx, and I don't really know the size. I honestly don't. I think they could be, because this is my toolbox and it doesn't give you sizes, so unfortunately I can't tell you what size it is, but all I can say is it is a Torx, and I'm just gonna undo this one. All you need to do is just loosen them and then you can undo them by hand. They're not very tight, and then I'm just going to use the head with my hand and undo them. And I've already undone the one at the bottom, so it's just two screws really. It's as easy as that, and this is what these screws look like. I'm not sure if my camera is focusing, but definitely a Torx, and they're pretty dirty, so you might have to clean them with a little brush in order to get your tool in there. The mud flap has these very deep grooves in here, so it can really get in there, and I've just got to line up the holes and make sure the mud flap itself is lined up real good. And I see the top one is there, so I'm going to get that one in while the mud flap is sitting in place. And something I've noticed now is that with this screw removed, once you get the mud flap on, there's not a lot of room for the screw to actually move in there. So you lose a little bit of space because the head of the screw is so big. Now I'm just screwing the top one in with my hand, and I'll tighten them now with the tool once I have both screws located. Now I just want to get in here so I can show you guys. This is where this screw has to go in, and we need to make sure that we can line it up with the hole. But you'll see I've got the top one in there, and I don't think the hole's lining up 100% at this point. So I need to figure out where it is. I think I can see it. There we go. It's kind of difficult holding the camera and doing this with one hand, but I've got the hole there and the screw is tightening in, and you see what I mean. The screw is going in at an angle because the head is too big to, it's hitting the side of the mud flap here. So I'm going to use the tool now and then just tighten that up. But as you can see, the fitment is very neat, very nice, and it's contoured to the shape of the bumper. So I'm just going to button these up and then go on to the other side. This one is on, and I just want to show you, it even has this little cutout for this piece of the bumper over there. So you've got your cutout over there, and yeah, I don't think it's necessary to put another bolt down here, and I'm not going to do that because it's pretty sturdy. It's pretty sturdy, it's not going to come off, and these two bolts are definitely doing the trick. Now if you look at the front of my car, you can see there's a lot of dirt that has bounced up onto the whole of my car, going as far back as the rear door. So all along here there's splashes of dirt, and the reflections make it difficult to see, but it's there. That's a better angle, but yeah, it's all over here. So I might have to turn the steering wheel to do the front. I'm going to just check and see if that's necessary. So on the front we just have this one deep nut sitting over there. It's also a Torx, and then there are no other bolts over here, which is obviously why the mud flaps only have one mounting point. But I've had a feel on this thing over here, and it would be possible, because the fender line is pretty thick, so it would be possible to put a self-tapper in further down, and maybe even up here. So I've turned the steering wheel, and I'm going to just prepare their hardware so long, and just want to check. Yeah, their hardware is a self-tapping screw with a Phillips head, so it helps to have a really good stubby screwdriver that you can use to really puncture it through and get it in there. But for now, I'm first going to undo Audi's screw, their lone screw down here, and we can use our hands to do the rest. And this screw is about the same length as the others, no difference in length. I just want to pop it through here to make sure the hole is there, and then just try and line it up. What I've done is I've popped the screw in the hole just to help me line it up with the actual hole in the car. And then we need to remember on the front ones, they have this little, it's like a clip that clips in on the actual fender here behind the fender liner. So I'm just going to check and see if it does need any more screws than this, because it's possible that it doesn't. And get that in, that lip. I'm using a different fitting for this one. Same Torx head, but going in at an angle on this is really not going to do the trick. So I'm just going to screw that in. And what I want to do now is clip it in, and now the screw will go in a little bit easier. Well, I'm finding that the screw is not going in very easy, so I'm going to have to use some force to really get it in. I just want to check. Yep. Okay, the screw is in. Yeah, you know what? This thing's not moving at all. I don't have to put anything further in here. So it's clipped in here at the top with that clip, and I'll show you the fitment here against the body. The fitment against the body is pretty tight. It even has a little lip that goes into this groove and comes down and around. The one on the driver's side at the rear didn't fit as nice and cozy as this one did. So unfortunately, that is the problem with these molded mud flaps, is that they do this, and I don't want dirt being able to get in the side, so I don't know what I'm going to do on the rear. I've got the car running because the car wasn't happy with me starting it and turning it off and starting and turning it off, moving the steering wheel. I haven't been driving the car a lot lately because we've had some really bad storms, so I haven't been able to drive it, or my other car for that matter. We've been using the Everest, and now that the storms are over, the skies are clear, but it's still kind of cold, and with that we have quite a lot of debris all over the show, and the whole town just looks terrible. But I just want to show you guys a close-up of what these look like. And here's the one in the front. I think they look very, very good, actually. You know, as I mentioned, the one at the back on this side, not this side, well, both of them at the back, actually, they do protrude a little bit over there, and that is just unfortunately one of those things. Not much you can do about it. You know, this one has a bigger bulge over there, but I think as time goes on, because these are so rubbery, they will eventually in the sun mold to the shape of the car. And the one over there in the front is also looking very nice. And the one thing about this car, which I only realized the other day when I was driving behind one of these, is that the wheels are pretty far out on this car. So from the back, it looks pretty stout. If I can get as far back as possible and just show you guys how stout this car looks from behind. You know, it looks pretty aggressive, even just looking at the car from behind. But I think the mud flaps are going to do a better job of keeping all the dirt and crud off especially the rear bumper, and also the sides of my car. And you can actually see how the wheel sticks out the side of the car there. It's pretty far out, even where the mud flap's sitting. But if the mud flap had to sit further out, would have meant that it would have to go a little bit higher up. And if it went higher up, the mud flap would be huge. I think they're going to do the trick. They're not huge mud flaps for such a big car. I would have thought that for a car this size, you'd have bigger mud flaps, because I know the Jag mud flaps are much wider than this. You know, if you look at the size of the tire in relation to the size of the mud flap, they're not the same size. You know, the mud flaps could have been a little bit wider actually, just to protect that upper part of the bumper. But anyway, it is what it is. There's not much I can do about that. And I'll just zoom out here and show you guys a side view, and just adjust my brightness here. But that is what it looks like, and they're very, very small, almost unnoticeable, to be honest. So they're just like little corner pieces, you know, some garnish on a salad. So yeah, but anyway, that's how you fit them. That's how you install them. That's how you fit mud flaps to an Audi A6. Very, very easy, very simple, not a long job. It took me probably longer to film it than it would to actually fit the mud flaps. So I would say give yourself maybe 15 minutes at the most. Quickest 10 minutes. It's really just a 10-minute job because I used all the hardware that was on the car, and that is how easy they fit. And I'll put a link in the description where you can buy these if you're interested. And the premise of fitting these is pretty much the same to fitting them on any other car. Like for instance, when I fitted mud flaps on my Jaguar XF. Very easy, same story, same procedure. So if you have a different maker car, it's probably going to be the same procedure as what I just showed you here. If you have a different maker car, fitting mud flaps is probably going to be the same procedure as what I just showed you here. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. Cheers.